Alrighty, here we are back again, working on the tape measure, continuing to work on the tape measure. And hopefully you all had a whole lot of fun working on that 1-inch dragon. It is by far one of my favorite labs. This next lab that is part of, could be part of your homework, is a tape measure Lab-2. And in tape measure Lab-2, it's really quite simple. We want you to get a lot of practice with the tape measure, with using the tape measure, but not just using the tape measure, getting comfortable with all those little lines in between and what they mean. So what we'd like you to do is, well, first of all, let's reach into your kits and you should find the tape measure lab. It's going to look like this. It really looks like a very blank chart or form, right? And it's got 4 columns in it, and they are the item measured, the length, the width, and the buddy inspect. Let's talk about each of those. And what are we doing anyway? So in your home, I want you to find 6 items, at least 6 items in your home. And I'd like you to measure the length of the item and the width of the item, okay? The length is almost always longer than the width. So, don't worry about getting length and width mixed up. Just measure those 2 dimensions from each side. These are only rectangular items, remember. And a square is a rectangle. You know that already. So squares are fine. But we want you to measure, and I'll look at my work surface here, my table, and you'll see this is 1 dimension here, and I would call this the width because it's more narrow than the length. L in length, longer. So the longer dimension would be length, right? So you're going to measure the width and the length. And so you have those 2 categories. The way I'd like to see you do this is I'm going to take my tape measure and we're going to go ahead and start. Say that I'm going to use this table and I'm going to measure this as my first item measured. So I'm going to take the tape measure. Notice it's not crooked like this. I'm trying to make it perpendicular to the edge of the table, and that's pretty close. Try to get that hook to stay down. That's pretty good too. And I'm going to come across here and I'm going to try to get a good read on that. And I see 29 and 7/8. So I'm going to remember that, 29 and 7/8, 29, 7/8, 29 and 7/8. Now I'm going to measure a second time. And I'm going to see 29 and 7/8. Yep, 29 and 7/8 again. So I feel very good about that. I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to say the width, right, is 29 and 7/8. Next thing to do, let's do the same thing and measure the length. So I'm going to try to get the hook to stay on the end there as I draw the tape out. And that is pretty good right there. I see it's perpendicular to the surface, the other edge there. So my tape is nice and straight. And boy, that is exactly 72 inches. 72 inches. So I'm going to double check it and measure it again, because as I looked at my worksheet, I see item measure, length, width, and then in red it says buddy inspect. I think you know what that means. 72. So I'm going to write 72 on the length. And then I'm going to call that my table top, because it's the top of the table that I'm measuring. Now, buddy inspect. this is where it gets interesting. We're going to see just how well I measured this, right? I would be taking this to my buddy, and I would tell my buddy what I measured, and they would see that it's the tabletop. And then the buddy will come in, just as I'd like you to do, get your buddy to verify the accuracy of your work. And your buddy will measure the length and the width. And in this case, if my buddy were to agree with the numbers, then my buddy would put their initials in this box. So that's what goes in the buddy inspect box. Your buddy has to sign off on your work or inspect it, okay? So I want you to do that now for 6 items. And any 6 items in your home. So as long as they are rectangular, don't do anything round. Don't climb up on anything to get to something that's high up. Just be reasonable, anything. It could be a book. Don't get multiple books. Have a little fun with it. Use your imagination. Plenty of rectangular items around your home, and I'm sure you'll be able to find at least 6. And if you can fill up the sheet, you've done an exemplary job. And again, the reason that we're doing this is to give you practice. We're taking your new information and we're helping turn it into something learned, something that becomes knowledge. New information that is learned. Okay? I hope you enjoy this, and I'm sure that your buddy will enjoy doing it with you. So, thanks for being with us today on Tape Measure Lab 2.